How's it going, Games Done Quick Committee? I am Bayleaf. You may remember me as the darker side Super Mario Odyssey runner from the previous Awesome Games Done Quick in January. So I'm recording this to submit for a potential solo lockout or team lockout bingo. And the way this works is myself and a teammate are given a random bingo card. As you can see over to my left, I have a pre-made card already made, and it's already revealed. However, we would have that hidden right before we start the race. And basically what we want to do, solo or a teammate, in lockout bingo, it's first to 13. So our main objective is to kind of work as a team or as an individual to kind of make our own route on the fly right as we start the race, to kind of get goals as fast as we can. And since it's lockout, we have to kind of metagame our opponents. So you can't just, I'm going to do this because these are fast, because your opponent could be faster than you and you could also make mistakes. So with all that in mind, you have to be good at entire game knowledge. So in this example, we have 28 unique captures. That could be off-putting to your opponents, so that could be something you want to go for. Or your opponent could double down on that and kind of throw you a curveball and actually go for it. As well as like 32 Moons in Sand. That's going to take a while. So you have to put into like the back of your head, okay, is my opponent going to go for that? Is that something I want to go for early? Is that something I want to have like my teammate do for me? In team lockout, this is amazing because you can have one teammate go early on and get the early goals, and your other teammate just focuses on getting to the later kingdoms and just getting like 6 or 7 late game goals. That kind of like opens up a whole new perspective of team routing. Spike Vegeta and I Ate Your Pie did this during their Momam 4 event, and I was able to take part of it, and it was phenomenal. I was on Pie's team, and we managed to win, I think it was 13-11, but it was down to the wire. It was extremely close the whole race. We blocked each other out of some goals back to back. It was intense the entire time. So in my case, I'm the pretty much all knowledge guy in terms of Odyssey. I run darker side. I do all unique moons, so I just have great knowledge of the game overall. But with the added pressure of bingo, it kind of threw me off a little bit. I had to really think about, okay, how can I get these goals accomplished during this time? Should I get some certain things early on? So like all regional coins in one kingdom, that's something you can do right off the bat before you even like go anywhere. So that's something you want, like you either want your early guy to kind of focus on, or you want the I guess better player to kind of go for, since if they know where all the purple coins are, they do the boss and they just go right into getting all the purples. So routing is definitely important, but also team routing is even more important. So like on this board we have 30 moons sand, 32 in sand, and then we have 90 moons total. So it's just kind of like you have to work with your teammate to kind of like pick certain goals that you think one another can pick up before the enemy team, and you have to make sure your lead guy can actually get to these goals before your opponent. So like, say I was running for Captain Toad Lake, I would just be pushing through the first 3 kingdoms as fast as I can, and then go talk to Captain Toad. I'm not really going to do any gameplay in the submission VOD, just because I it takes a while for my internet to upload long videos, and I don't really have the time for this last minute recording. But I'm sure Spike Vegeta and maybe some other runners will have gameplay footage of this lockout competition. But it just goes to, I think it would be a great addition to the Games Done Quick, because there was a lot of success, in my opinion, with the Sunshine Lockout Bingo, and that was 1v1. So I think for Odyssey, from my personal experience, I think a 2v2 Lockout Bingo would be an extremely good idea. 1v1 is still good, but it would be really interesting to see the team aspect of a 2v2. That's just in my opinion. You guys are free to do whatever you want, but if the Games Done Quick committee does want another showing of Odyssey, I think showcasing Lockout Bingo with a 2v2 aspect would be a phenomenal idea. Especially with like the top level players submitting, like myself, Timpani, Kerbis, Spike Vegeta. In my case, I'm good at playing the game, but I'm not good with on-the-spot routing. So if I had a teammate like Spike, who's extremely good at on-the-fly routing, he could kind of just tell me what to do. I could be like, all right, yeah, I can see that. And then I can kind of like set the squares that I want right off the bat. So it'd be like, so say Spike would want me to push late game because I can probably get there faster than him. So I'd probably want to go for like 2 moons from wooden crates, because that's a goal you got to push for deep. And then 3 shiny moon rocks, that'd be something else I could get. As well as 90 moons. I know I can get 90 moons fast. Let's see, what else could I get? There's a lot of early game squares on this board. 6 moons from moon shards is going to require me to push probably mid game into Metro, and then capture both a cactus and a tree. So that's going to require me to go to Sand Kingdom and Wooded. So it's definitely something like you want to take your pick there, because you can see on the board to the left there's the tree goal, which is in Wooded at the bottom row, but right next to it there's Lake. So this is going to require me to make a choice. Do I want to go for the tree and then potentially sacrifice 16 in Lake, or am I confident in my gameplay where I'm going to be able to get that tree before my opponent, because it's super easy to get? As well as, 1 checkpoint in snow, that's just going to be purely pushing to that point as fast as you can while picking up some other things. But you can't stray too much from it, because your opponent could beat you there if they kind of just ignore some stuff. So it's something you have to be worried about the entire time. So I think a 2v2 lockout would be a really good showcase at GDQ this summer. I think Spike mentioned myself, Timpani, 360 Chrism was on that list as well. So you definitely have people ready and available at the top level to kind of do this bingo. And we would have months to prepare. So I could practice bingo for months, get really good at bingo. I'm already good at gameplay everywhere. So just picking good routes for bingo and good strategies is something we can work towards over the course of a month or so. And we can really kind of like get it down to the fine wire and go through hundreds of cards in the meantime. So in addition to my other submissions, I'm mainly the darker side guy still. I'm still working on pushing that category down. There's been a few route changes, so been working towards that. Dark side is also another thing I can do. I would just have to do a week's worth of practice and push that time down. I think the record is 149 right now. My PB is a 155, but that is probably well over a year old at this point, so I would just have to update my route and push that time down, which I'm very confident that I can do. But yeah, I hope you guys consider adding an Odyssey bingo. I think it'd be really cool. I think the crowd would love it. It'll keep them on the edge of their seats, that's for sure. So you definitely want that. And that's about all I got for this VOD. Sorry there's no gameplay. Like I said, my internet can only upload so fast, and I don't have a lot of time to make a longer video to upload for this. But like I said, we should have Spike Vegeta, Tempany, and some other runners make a quick submission VOD, and hopefully you can kind of see how it would go from there. So like, before I go, some examples that I would do in this lockout. Knowing my own strengths, I would probably go for crates, shiny rocks. I would do some coins. I would ignore the captures, because in my opinion they do eat up a chunk of time while distracting you from other goals. Some captures you have to go out of your way for. This is something that I could do because I'm very good at sequence breaking, so I know I could get there before my opponent. And then depending on how many early game goals I was able to get from my opponent, I might go for something like the outfit door, 16 moons in lake. My opponent would probably go for this, so this is something I might ignore just to kind of send them down there, because they can't really do anything outside of that. And that would free up some late goals for me, because I would already be ahead at that point. So it's just really interesting to see what you can do against your opponent without knowing where they are. But based on what they check off, you can kind of get a sense for where they are. So I think it'd be a really cool aspect to see at the GDQ event. If you did not want to include any Odyssey category this upcoming GDQ, which is completely understandable. It's had a lot of spotlight. So, but that's all I got. Hope you guys have a fun time reviewing all the submissions, and hope you guys have a good one. Have a good one.